Alright, I forget how long it's been, but we're back on Sky Striker. I don't really know what to start here or Master 1 again. Um, I'm gonna make some videos with specific duels that I thought were more interesting. I would not super suggest copying this deck list. I think this deck list is okay. However, my main problem is Malice, which is basically you kind of need to go first against Malice, because going second, it's not the board that's the problem playing against Malice. It's the non-engine. Malice is always going to play Droll. Malice is always going to play Max C. I think if they are not playing these cards, they're probably just incorrect. They're going to be playing more than that. Ash is a problem, but Ash is like a card you can beat. Droll and Max C, not so much. And they draw like 3 or 4 cards. And so the problem is, like, there was one that made like Trigate, and they had like 2 Omni Negates, but I'm still not too concerned about that. I have cards in this deck for dealing with like Omni Negates and stuff, or like baiting it. But the main problem is that they're inevitably, like, you're going to get Maxi or you're going to get Drolled, and they have crazy follow-up, and you can't kill them. I think if you built for blind second, you could maybe fix the can't kill them problem if you're playing like a bunch of Raigeki and Harpies, and you're just going, okay, we're going to kill no matter what. The idea of this deck is to go first. I have a couple of concessions for going second. Afterburners and jamming waves I think are generally good, and I put in a feather duster because I found usually when I was getting like overwhelmed it was back row, and I wanted a heavy back row sweeper. I think you could cut this and put something else in. I would probably cut it and put in a second Limnus Gate. I crafted 1 Limnus Gate and 1 0 because I didn't want to craft more. I think 1 is like okay, and I want to spend gems as I get them on the pack rather than just crafting them. I think you should play 2 0, to be very frank. 1 Limnus Gate I do think is a legitimate option. Technically 1 0 is a legitimate option, but I can think of like 1 or 2 games that I wanted the second one. Not wanted, needed. Wanted it. I wanted it several times. I do think it makes a big difference, especially when you're going first, because sometimes when you're going first, you're going to make 0 first, search, engage, get linkage, go Kagari, and then Kagari get engage, and then you're going to end on like a Shizuku, and sometimes you'll be able to set up for a second 0 on your opponent's turn, even if it's just Ray and Graveyard and it's not like a linkage set. That's still something that can be relevant and a relevant piece of interruption for your opponent's turn. However, like I said, I didn't really want to craft the second one. New support's very good. I think the Shuffle Back and the Graveyard effect of Limnus Gate are very good, especially if your back row gets wiped. But yeah, I'm going to try to keep this a little short at the moment. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to start talking about the list overview now. I don't have too much to say. I messed around with this deck list a lot, and I'm still not super happy with it. I actually basically got really lucky in terms of like when the deck was doing poorly and when it was doing well. And because of that, I actually had like a 49.5% win rate on this deck, just on average playing with it. But like I was doing some like really fun stuff that I never deranked with this deck, by the way. Like, despite having that like really bad win rate. There was a bit where I was playing Morganite. Like, I have a bunch of versions. I just didn't bother like saving them or anything. I had Morganite. I had this come up against Stun. I played against Stun, and it was like I drew dead for like 2 or 3 turns before I finally got a life draw. This one is built for, the idea is you're going first, and the second idea, you'll note there's no upstart, no anything like that. The only one we have is Rhoda, and that's because I want to play around Droll specifically. I think playing around Droll, I want to win going first if I get Drolled, and I think this deck list is more likely to do that. That's also why we're playing, air quotes, so many names. I'm playing 2 Cyanos, because normal summon Cyanos, special Rose into Camellia. It's just a solid line. Because you make Camellia, dump, engage, make Kagari, get engage, and you can go into linkage, or you can grab a piece of interruption and then use Sionis' graveyard effect to special summon and just make 0. So you have lines with Cyanos. I think Cyanos is very strong. And depending on your hand in that scenario, you know, you do what makes sense. We're playing 3 Ray. I think Ray's a crazy good board breaker now, because you basically go normal summon Ray, activate Ray effect, special 0, activate 0 effect to special summon and pop. And then from there, you can make Zeke, or you can make Azalea. You can even, like, go for an SP line by making Kiner or something. I'm not going to talk about the extra deck yet. I'm gonna hold back. So Ray's just really good at board breaking. Ray's pretty solid. The deck's still really good about playing around Maxi, where you only like give them 1 draw. Depending on the cards in your hand, you can like set one, normal summon Ray if you have like Ray linkage, and then activate Ray effect. And then if your opponent like Maxis, you can just chain linkage, give them no draws. But that would be like fairly hand specific. But that can come up. Rose, you don't want to draw Rose. When you're going second, you're going to draw Rose like 15% of the time, and it turns Ray into not a board breaker. And I think there's an argument that you would want to play 1 Rose because of that. I think, though, not 1, I mean 2. Because when you play 2, it goes down to like a 2% chance of drawing both of them. And so then Ray's like always open, or linkage is always open for board breaking plays. I think you have to kind of just know if you're going second and you need to break boards, you kind of just need a good hand, and you just kind of need to accept, okay, the hands with Rose, boy, do I hope I draw Super Poly, I guess. I think it's good to sometimes say, you know what, it's fine. We're playing Harpies. I think it's questionable, but like I said before, there were just some times where it felt like, oh, I can deal with the monsters, but the back row's what's killing me. And I need to get rid of it early. So having an option for Harpies, getting it off of Thrust, or something along those lines, felt fine. I don't think I really drew it after I put it in the deck. I would say it should be a second Limitless Gate, because I think the grind game from Limitless Gate is way better. And then we're playing 1 Rhoda. Obviously, this is just another copy of Ray. I guess situationally it can be Rose. That can't come up. 3 engage. Search, potentially even draw, crazy. This is the only card you want to be getting Drolled on, and preferably you want to be getting Drolled on it when you have 3 spells in grave. I think Droll is very popular right now, which is why my main deck is playing around it. I got Drolled like 1 too many times. 1 Afterburners, 1 Jamming Waves. These help going second a lot. Being a search off of engage is very good. Talents, go first, you get the hand rip. If you go second, usually you need to draw 2 because you need more gas. Thrust is another copy of Engage, especially with 3 talents. Originally I was playing less, but you draw less in this version of the deck. But honestly, drawing tends to be, I don't know, drawing's like a little iffy sometimes. Like drawing another talents or a second Thrust or a second normal summon can be a little bad. Although sometimes you can draw like Cyanos with like a dead spell, and you can do like more extra deck plays instead of focusing on main deck ones. 1 multi-roll for grind game stuff, that's fine. Super Poly was a card I found helped with board breaking. Hypothetically, there were board states where you can go like Super Poly, like say, wow, my brain just farted. The Orcust board, you can like Super Poly the links off the board, and then if you drew Final Bringer, you can hit the field spell, which can be very good. Call by, this is like the only way to beat the stupid turn-ending hand traps. I find Hornet Drones playing 1 exactly because sometimes you'll get interrupted off of your striker names. Like, maybe you'll get ashed on 0 or something, and you'll have, like, broken the board with the rest of the cards in your hand. And basically the idea is, like, if you have engage last card, searching linkage is the world's biggest gamble. Because you're just saying, I'm searching linkage, and then I'm hoping desperately that I draw a card to send with linkage. And I found this comes up enough where it's just worth it to run Hornet Drones for that scenario. Specifically going second. Going first, it still is a 1-card 0. You go through Kagari. I don't like it. It kind of, but it's fine. It plays. So, going first, these two are like consistency. Going second, drones in particular is just a 1-card. You don't need your normal summon. You're back on engine. 3 Widowmaker, negate, potentially steal. 1 Shark Cannon. Orcust is popular deck, and I think Graveyard Interruption can be good. Droplet, good board breaker, good going first. It lets you do Widow Anchor, steal, Droplet send, or after a 0 effect, you can Droplet send the Rose, so you aren't clogs for, once again, double Widow Anchor. Linkage obviously just cheats out extra deck monster. Usually you want to cheat out 0, or you want to be doing battle phase OTK shenanigans with this very easily if you get the board clear. And then Final Bringer is a good piece of interruption that targets a monster you control and a card your opponent controls. Your monster does not need to remain on the field, so you can do like normal summon Ray, activate Final Bringer, target Ray, target something else, and then chain Ray's effect. And it'll still destroy their card, even though Ray's off the field and doesn't get destroyed because she's not there anymore. This is also one where it can clear the Rose off after a 0 activation, or after a Widow Anchor steal, you can clear off the monster. It just, once again, this is another card that sets you up for Widow Anchor plus second Widow Anchor, while still having a piece of interruption between. I think Final Bringer of the End Times is pretty good for this. I think later cards that are going to come out eventually, like the Branded Quick Play, are better, because in like Brick Hands, they let you interrupt your opponent, and this card is dead if your hand doesn't play, which sucks. One Lemon Skate doesn't help you do anything by itself, however, I just think very good, super good for grind game. And then Blackout Laughs, you're going first, you get hand trapped, bam, you get Blackout. Also, this is a great pitch off of Super Poly. There are some times where you just have Super Poly and you're like, I don't want to pitch any of these cards. Blackout, extra normal summon tend to be good pitches, which is just nice to have. And the extra deck. We're just playing Mud Dragon and Garua for the Super Poly targets. And then I'm playing 2 Kagari. Having the ability to recycle is very important. Kagari recycles, and Kagari doesn't require you to need an effect or 2 Sky Striker Ace monsters a summoner. So I'm playing 2 of her. We're playing 1 Shizuku, 1 Hayate, 1 Kaina, 1 Amatsu. Amatsu has a destruction effect that can come up when it's attacking. And he also has an effect that, it changes the effect of a monster with 2,000 or more attack that's on the field that your opponent controls. Well, funnily enough, you can use this against, like, your opponent's 0. Amatsu's just a pretty solid card. I found the most frequent thing that would come up, though, is that I'd have a card, and I'd have, like, a Ray or Rose in hand. I'd have, like, a Kaina or something, and I'd be like, I just want 2 darks to make Azalea. This card makes Azalea makeable. It's great. I love it. So you'll be able to actually, like, make Azalea in game states where previously you couldn't, because you didn't have an extra deck link one, light or dark. I think its on-field effects are fine, but honestly, one of the biggest things I noticed with this card was it being a dark and being able to make Azalea. I did have the negate come up once against Lunalight. Oh my gosh, they went first, they made Liger Dancer, and we played for like forever because I needed to get the 3,800 attack with Kagari. I legitimately didn't activate Kagari effect because I got it. I got Blackout Laughs in the graveyard. I used the graveyard effect. I got 13 spells in graveyard. Linkage, make Kagari, make it so they can't activate, and then I crashed, and I finally outed their stupid guy. And then there was a later turn where I Amatsu'd their, like, 2,000 attack fusion that, like, searches something with Amatsu. That was a stressful game. But I won it. They only made one of the towers that game, so it was, like, fine. Zeke is just a banish. Graveyard effect of Limnus Gate on your opponent's turn, access to a banish. Or, sometimes you can do Azalea on your opponent's turn. Once again, the graveyard effect of Limnus Gate is really powerful, and I think it's also why you play 2. I actually like the concept of playing 3, but I think you have to concede, like, when... I think, basically, a bunch of the decks, like Orcust and stuff, are very high-power combo decks, and you don't want to be playing a bunch of cards that don't help you break the board, or, like every card wants to have a specific purpose. So, like, I play 2 Cyanos because I want to hit a specific numbers of Sky Striker Ace names, so I'm opening at least 1. You're probably opening 1 or 2, I feel like. I can't remember. It's, like, 30 or 40% for 1, and then, like, 20-something for 2. That's the basic idea behind that. Anyways, Camellia, this makes Moral Summon Cyanos like a good play. SP Little Knight is just a solid card, banish, while being able to, like, dodge or interrupt your opponent. But mostly you just use it as a banish. And then it's a dark, so usually I'll end up making Azalea afterwards to get back on Striker. Engage 0 is a card that can be summoned off of Linkage. I had its negate come up once. I think Engage 0 and Kaina are cuttable. However, I would suggest cutting them for 0 and either Kagari or Shizuku, in my opinion. 0 is incredible. Search or pop and special summon too. Non-target pop, by the way. 0 is very powerful. Gives you extra interruption on your opponent's turn. Gives you a way to start going first. Just very good. Link 3, I had this come up once. It was in the mirror match because when you equip your opponent's Sky Striker Link monster, they did not leave the field, so Ray doesn't trigger. So it's actually good in the mirror match. There's a problem with this, though, which is that it doesn't actually matter. Because usually in the mirror match, when you remove their extra deck monster, you have Rose in graveyard, because the games are grindy. So that doesn't matter, because you're going to trigger Rose, if you know what you're doing. Your opponent's going to trigger Ray, and then your Rose is going to negate their Ray, so it doesn't really matter anyways. The one big thing I'll say about this deck, in terms of its, like, weaknesses, if you're playing against it and you're, like, wondering what you want to do, is what I found playing the deck is usually when you go first, you're going to set up for a 0 and, like, a bunch of setback row. And that 0 is your follow-up, so if you, like, Ash or Impulse 0, usually the Striker player won't have follow-up. If they set up multi-roll, that's not going to be true, because at that point they're going to have Engage in Graveyard, and they're going to have at least one Widow Anchor, you know, that's going to offer them guaranteed follow-up. This deck in particular, I think, has a higher than normal chance of drawing more follow-up. But yeah, I found this to be pretty good going first. I found it to be, like, fine. I think the Orcust board, you aren't on average winning. I do think if you built blind second for playing against Orcust, you could win. I don't think you need to build it, like, crazy hard against Orcust, like playing that, what is it? I forget what the spell's called. Like, I don't think you need to go crazy. system down. Like, you don't need to go super crazy against Orcust. You don't need to play something like this. I just think you... Like, unironically, I think you could just be, like, running Cosmic in your deck, and that would do good work for you for beating Orcust, like, more than it should. But I found Orcust boards, on average, were just, like... Well, it would tend to be this. I would be able to get through the board, and then they would have one non-engine in hand, and it was like, getting through the board, I could just barely do, but I couldn't get through the board and the non-engine. And that was my general experience with Orcust. Is it was just like, what they had was just barely enough to, like, overpower how I need to interact with them. Because they have, like, the quick effect steal, which means you basically have to normal summon... Like, you have to kind of force a counter trap, which isn't too unreasonable. And then you have to, after that, you have to start... you kind of have to get the field spell. Like, it's really awkward because, what is it, in Lugirsu? This guy steals, and like, you have, like, if you normal summon, right, you just have to immediately activate the effect, because if they activate him first, they just get to steal, and it doesn't trigger your Link, Ray Engrave or anything like that. So I think that matchup is a little difficult if you aren't blinding second, but I think it's technically winnable, but I mean, everyone's gonna full combo with you. I'm not playing Maxi or anything like that. I do think it might be optimal to play, like, Maxi and, like, Fuelos. Just because you kind of need to have outs for going, second. And I feel like those are the two most widely applicable ones, and then that means when you go first, I think you'll have, like, a 50% chance of winning. I lost a bunch of coin flips with this deck also, I will say, for its in its defense for its win rate. And I think that negatively impacted the win rate because obviously it's not built to break boards. And two of the most popular decks, which are the Orcust deck and Maliss deck, are hard to board break. I know for a fact I definitely broke at least one Maliss board, but, like, in general, it's just, like, it's pretty rough because they just draw too many cards and they have too much non-engine and they're playing Duel and Maxi, and both of those cards, when you're trying to break a board, you're going to give them, like, a bunch more draws. They have crazy follow-up anyways, and it's just, like, super unlikely you can do much of anything. But that's, I don't know, that's combo decks. I don't love combo decks. I do actually think Orcust is way better because Orcust doesn't draw 500 cards. Like I said, for me, I'm used to seeing, like, Orcust in board. They have the counter trap on the field, they have the field spell and the field spell zone, and they have a bunch of graveyard follow-up and interaction. I feel like I'm mostly playing against that. The problem is that card in hand is usually a non-engine, which is just a little bit too much with everything else, assuming they're playing it reasonably well. But yeah. I think this could be further optimized. I'm not sure exactly how I'd want to optimize it, but I felt pretty pleased with this. I made Master 1 with this. I had a couple of, like, really good games I liked with this. I like where Sky Striker's at with the new support. I think you could play just, like, you're gonna lose to Droll and just, like, let it ride. But you have to build the deck wildly differently for that, which is fine. I also think Super Poly isn't mandatory, but I basically wanted to include cards that would help me a lot going second when my opponent had an annoying combo board, and Super Poly was the one I felt like made the most sense to me. So that's why it's there, obviously. Yeah, I actually really like the pure ritual deck, whose name I can't think of. Playing into... Oh my gosh, I'm revealing I don't know these cards' names. Mitsurugi. Murakumo. Okay. The Mitsurugi cards, if they're played pure, playing against that deck is actually kind of nice. But it's never played pure because you can do crazy combo stuff, so you might as well, I suppose. Yeah, if you want a deck that feels solid going first, but doesn't have as miserable time breaking non-boards, like like super strong boards, this is it. I had a game where I lost because I misplayed after breaking a board that had like 3 Omni Negate traps on it, and they had the Raziel Field Spell as well, and they had they had the Duo Drive on field for follow-up. And I elected to pretend that they weren't going to have a level 4 in hand and stop the draw and bounce that with my Lemnis Gate. And I just needed to bounce the Duo Drive after it activated effect so they couldn't, like, guarantee follow-up. But I'm a greedy piece of garbage, so what can I say? I think I would have won that game because they had given me, like, a 10,000 attack Nibiru token. And I don't think they could have outed it. But they would have been drawing extra cards, and I couldn't bear to let them do that. But, a deck is good. A deck is fun. I think I need to do some iterating if I want the deck to not fold going second. I feel like a lot of the combo decks are very strong, and you want to play better than them. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. I said I was going to keep it short, and I've been talking for 26 minutes. Alright, bye.